So I was called to diagnose this vehicle. This is Honda CRV 2019. So I'll scan the system and see. They say they are having some communication. They are having a lot of lights on the dashboard. So I'll scan the whole vehicle and see the modules that I'll be able to communicate with. Then I'll know what to do from there. So now I'm done with the scanning, and you can see I'm able to communicate with only 7 modules. So let me check the reports. And FCAN issue and also lost communication issues. So I'll try and see why I'm having the lost communication issue and the FCAN issue. So tomorrow I'll come and check it. So I just came to scan it, so now I know the issue. I'll just go ahead and learn about the system, because it was a right-hand drive and they sent it to left-hand drive. So I'll do that and know what to do from there. So after several hours of diagnosing, today too I'll be scanning it and see if today I'll be able to communicate with most of the system. So I'll scan the whole vehicle and see the modules that I'll be able to communicate with it. But I've traced to this point. This is another CAN cone that Honda is using. So there is another CAN cone, and this also is another CAN cone. So what I'll do is I'll test the CAN on this light. This one I think is for the powertrain and other things, and this one also is for the other ones like the airbag and other things. The yellow and blue is for the airbag, and the red and white is for the PCM and other things. So as the vehicle is being scanned, I'll see if I'll be able to communicate with a lot of modules. Then I will see the report in it, like as I said. So this is another day. So as the module is connecting, let me start using my scope. So let me start using my scope. Let me go to home page and go to scope. Then let me start using my scope. Let me set it up. So with this voltage I can set my scope. A and C. Then I have to change the voltage to 10 volts. I have to change this also voltage to 10 volts. Then I'll leave it this way because it has 0, but all the way to rise up. And then I can change this second to 1 milliseconds. So now what I'll do is I'll be testing from this side and see which one that I'll be having the good communication. So I test on this and you can see the CAN communication I'm getting very horrible. And then I test on this one, then you can see that I'm getting a horrible CAN communication. So what I'll do is I test on this also, and it's giving me the same horrible CAN network, and this also is giving me the same horrible CAN network. So let me check on the red and white, and I'm getting a horrible CAN network, but it's not that bad. It's bad. Then let me check on this one also. I'm getting a CAN network which is quite okay. So what I'll do now is let me check on this also. And this one, even there is no the voltage on it, the CAN voltage on it is really bad. Then let me check on this one also. So it looks like CAN high is really bad. So what I'll do is I'll disconnect it and test it one by one whilst the vehicle is off. So let me check. Now it's done scanning and I'm having only 8 modules. And I'm now having only 8 modules. So what I'll do now is let me check the fault code. And it's full of FCAN, and the communication issue. So let me erase all the fault code. So the ABS and the gauge module are reporting. So let me go to the gauge module and see, because I'm not able to communicate with my airbag on this side. So what I'll do is I'll go back to my airbag unit and test for power and ground, and also the can line, and see how bad the can line is. So I'll use the second channel. Then I'll go to the airbag and go and check the airbag unit. But before that, I have to turn off the vehicle and turn it back on after I'm in. So these are the fault code that lost communication with this. This one, when you raise it and you turn it off and on. Let me erase all the fault code. It was 8, right? So after erasing all the fault code, I'll turn it on again and see which of them will come up. Okay, no fault code. Let me turn the vehicle off. It's even reporting key issue. So normally when it's reporting key issue, it will be an antenna issue. So you can see the moment I turn it off and turn it on, all the fault codes are back. So now what I'll do is, I know where the airbag unit is. So let me go to the airbag unit, disconnect the airbag unit and reconnect it again, and test for power and ground and see if it is the airbag unit which is faulty. So now you can see that on this line, let me go to my scope again. On this network, right, on this network, I'm having bad CAN communication. So let me take the cable there and do it. So now it will change to the blue one. So let me disconnect the airbag, turn it off, disconnect the airbag, and continue from there. So this is the airbag unit. This is where the airbag unit is located. This is the airbag socket. So with this airbag socket, the blue and green, on this line is the CAN network. So let me turn on the key. Now that I've disconnected the airbag, I can turn on the key now. So now you can see that there is CAN communication on it. So let me use my probe to probe it. So now, because it's out of range, that's why it's behaving that way. So let me put it in the blue one. Let me put it in the yellow one first. Yeah, and you can see now my blue, which is channel C. So that means there is communication. Let me find for the blue wire, and please, and you can see the CAN communication is really bad. So now what I'll do is, I'll check from the front that when I disconnect that socket, this CAN line will go off. So what I'll do now is, I'll disconnect this socket, and see why the CAN line is behaving that. So the moment I disconnect this socket, the CAN line is off. So what I'll do is, at least we will have one that brings the CAN to the network. So let me see. No. Okay, so let me test. No, and there is no change. So now I can see some little change here. That means this is the line communicating with the CAN. So what I'll do now is, I'll try and test the pin which is bringing the CAN line down. So I'll plug my first pin in this line. So I've plugged my first pin in, and what I'll do is I'll connect one of my cable to it and be testing it from one pin to the other. Any of them that brings this voltage down, then that means that's what is causing problem on the CAN line. So I'll do that. I'll be testing it pin by pin when it comes to the downside. So I'll test it from here, and you can see the blue line too has moved. That means the first pin, this first pin, this one is the airbag. So let me move to the second one, and you can see the blue line is down now, and still there is still that voltage in there. So let me test on this pin, and you can see the CAN line has just dropped, and that voltage has dropped, and when I release it, it goes up again. So that means there is an issue on that pin. And also let me test this pin, and there is nothing, and test this pin also, and there is nothing. So the next thing I'll do is I'll move the pin to the top and test also why the CAN line went down. So test also on the top line. So test this one. If the blue one moves, if the blue one moves, sorry, I have to change the pin. I have to change. So now I'll change my pin from the blue to yellow because I'm now testing on the yellow line. If the blue one moves, then that tells me that my airbag is the first one. So after switching it, now you can see that the blue one has also moved. So that means this first pin is my airbag. So if any issue, I should take it out. I can take it out. Then I don't know the rest where they are going. So now you can see that there was a CAN communication on the line when I inserted it here. There was a CAN communication, and you can see that there is a CAN communication in the line. And let me test here also, and here also there is a CAN communication. So now what I'll do is I'll be using the CAN, the one which has the CAN communication rather, to do the testing like as I was doing. So you can see there's a CAN communication. So now let me test the second one and see which of them will bring the CAN. And you can see the fourth pin, 1, 2, 3, 4. The fourth pin has destroyed the CAN. And let me go to the second one, and the CAN communication is okay. Let me go to the third pin, and you can see it has also caused issue to the CAN. So I'll take those two pins out, and let me see here also. Here there is no distraction, so I'll take those two pins out from the system, and I'll connect it to it and see if I can communicate with my airbag, if I can communicate back to my airbag. So now what I've done is I've taken those units which were causing the CAN network to be distracted. So now what I'll do is I'll plug it back. The moment I plug it back, I expect the B also to start a little bit communication. So you can see the communication on it. So let me probe this pin in and see if I can get the communication itself. So you can see the communication that I'm getting. So now what I'll do is I'll plug in the airbag socket and see if I can get any better communication with it, if my diagnosing machine can communicate with the airbag. After connecting the airbag unit, now there's CAN communication. So I'll connect my other channel also, which is channel C. I'll connect it also. I'll connect it also to it so that I'll have so now I've connected my two channels, and you can see there's communication on it. Now the CAN network is quite okay. So I think those two control units are causing the CAN system to come down on that side. So what I'll do is I'll jump it to the next CAN line, which is this one, or so that I'll see if I can have any communication with it. But before that, let me scan the vehicle first. So before that, I'll scan this vehicle. Let me go to erase fault code. Let me scan it and go back and rescan the vehicle and see if I'll be able to get some of the units on. If not, then I'll jump it to the working can line so that I'll see if I can get, because I'm not able to scan the airbag still. That means I have to jump it. So I'll jump it to the other can. I'll jump it to the other can bars so that I can get communication on the line. And so I'll do that soon. I'll do that soon. So now I'm almost done with the scanning of the vehicle. And let me check my can. And my can network is still at the position that it is. So you can see my can network. So I'll jump into the other side and see. Before I'll do that, I'll shut off the key. But before that, I have to know my can high and my can low. Which one is can high and which one is can low. Then I'll do the jumping. So now what I've done is I've jumped the can line. And you can see the can communication I'm getting now. It's not that bad, but it's bad. It's a bad can network. It's not that bad, but it's bad. So what I'll do now, you can see the P is still flashing. And I'll turn it off and wait for a while and check if my can line will soon go off. Then I'll go to diagnosing. You can see I'm only able to scan only 8 modules. So I'm hoping that now that I've jumped those can line, I'll be able to scan more modules. And I'm struggling because I don't have most of the information. This is the left-hand drive and they turn it into right-hand drive. And now you can see after jumping it, now the P is solid. Right, now the P is solid. That means if I change the gear, it will work. And the P becomes solid because when the airbag is working, that's where the P becomes solid. So when the airbag fails to work, the P wouldn't be solid. So now what I'll do is I'll scan the whole vehicle. And see the fault code in it. So let me see if I'll be able to scan or communicate with the airbag unit. So now the P is solid, which is telling me now the airbag is communicating and even the airbag light is on. So I'll scan the whole vehicle and see the modules that will be attached to it. I'm hoping there should be 3 or 4 modules attached to it so that they can communicate. So I'll wait for it. So now what I'm doing is I'm rescanning the system. So now you can see I'm able to scan the SRS, which is the airbag, and I'm also able to add like 2 modules to it because now it's up to 12. So I'm able to add 3 modules to it. So what I'll do now is I'll erase all the fault code. You can see that now I'm able to even scan the real-time intelligent and integrated driver support. So I've added those 2 modules. So now what I'll tell customer is he has to give me time, because and giving me time too, I have less time in doing certain works due to 1 or 2 things. So I don't have much time in doing it. So now you can see that the P is still solid on. So what I'll do is I'll erase all the fault code, then I'll turn it off and turn it back on and see the fault that I'll be getting. With the gauge module, the moment you recycle the ignition, the fault remaining is supposed to come. So let me see the unit that the gauge module will be reporting that it's not communicating with, if it will affect the other units also. So we're still on the diagnosing, and let me see how bad my CAN network is. And you can see the CAN network is not that really bad like it used to be. And the moment I add those 2 modules that I've taken out is to jump the whole CAN network. So now I can even start the vehicle, but I want it to finish erasing the fault code. Then I start the vehicle, then I scan it again and see which modules that will be reporting fault in them. So this is my simple connection. So I'll speak to customer about it. If he approves it, I will jump it for him for now, so that he use it for a while, because there is no time on my side and it is holiday today is 23rd and it's holiday to Christmas. Merry Christmas to all my lovely viewers. So let me see, the erasing is not done yet, so I'll wait for it to finish, then I'll know what to do. So now it is done, and let me cycle the ignition. So now after starting the vehicle, let me go back and go to auto scan and see the modules that I can communicate with. And you can see that also the P is still on. So let me see the fault that it will be reporting. The P is still on, and the gauge module is now reporting only one fault. So I'll check that module, and the SRS, because the vehicle is an accident vehicle, so I'll speak to the client about it. So now the P is on and the job is done, just that the radio is not working. I'll check why it's not working. That one will be for a different video. So now I am almost done, and most of the units are working now, are able to communicate with the system, and it's due to this. So if I'm going to trace anything, then that means I'm going to trace the green and blue line, the yellow and blue line, where it is going, and why is it that it's not communicating direct to the CAN unit. So I think I'll try and see if I can get information, because this vehicle is an Australian vehicle and the wiring diagram is quite different from the wiring diagram from the US. So I'm done with my diagnosis, and I'll speak to the customer if he agrees for me to jump the wires for now, so that he can be using it and you'll be seeing the P. So now what I'll do is I'll change the gear lever positions, then see. So now you can see I'm only able to communicate with I'm only able to communicate with 12 units, and I'm having fault in 4 of them. So it is the airbag unit because of the accident, and this one is reporting gauge, multipurpose and camera. So it could be here, it could be here, it could be that maybe even the unit that I've taken out, CAN line comes to this side. So the ABS lost communication with the front wiper module, automatic sensor and other things. So now this relay can be done after everything is done properly. So now what I'll do is I'm done with my work. The P is on now, so I'll continue my diagnosing and speak to the customer. If he agrees, then I have to strip the car off and trace the wires, and that will cost him more. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to my channel for more videos. So I'll go to the driver's seat and change the gears, so that you see the P and the gear lever will be changing. So now that I'm in the driver's seat, when I change it, you can see it's now changing. It's because the airbag is now communicating with the system. So what I'll do now is I'm done with the diagnosis. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to my channel for more videos.